Hi everyone, welcome back to Edu4Sure, and today we have come up with SQL interview preparation question and answers. The same way we have done for Excel and Power BI in this series. So now we are starting with SQL. So what is the question? First question. So the question can be, what does a null value represent, right? First of all, you need to see this practically so that we can answer this in the interview. So practical knowledge, if you do not have, you will not be able to frame this in the interview, right? So let me take you to SSMS screen where I would be showing it to you practically, right? So this is my SSMS screen. For example, I am importing some data. Okay, bulk insert I'm talking about. I will not be entering the data one by one, row by row. I would be inserting or importing the data in bulk, right? So for example, I am creating a new database. So right click on database, say new database. And the name of the database is interview, right? You can keep the name any name. Like for example, you are saying Superstore. This is the name of your database where we would be importing the database for a Superstore, right? So I have entered the name for database. I said add. Okay. Okay. So removing this because remove. Okay. Okay. So there is the database which has been created, which is blank. How you will get to know this is blank? I clicked on this plus sign. I go to the tables, and inside this, we have all the by default tables, system table, file tables, external table, graph tables. We do not have any other table, right? So as of now, we have not imported, created any table in this. Now I would be doing right click on this and I will say task import data. So I would be importing some Excel file here, right? So I hope you can see the pop-up on my screen. We would be filling up the information here. So it is asking me, what is your data source? So my source is Excel. It is asking me the path, file path. So I would be taking the data from, let me go to the path. So this is the Superstore data, which I would be taking. So I have given the path. It is asking me which is the Excel version you are using. Now you would be surprised to see we do not have any other version after 2016. So for example, in case you are using 2019, 20 or 365, you will not be able to import the data. But no. So we will not be going ahead with the version. We would be going ahead with the extension, right? So if you are using the Excel where the extension is XLSX, you need to take this one, 2007 to 10. And this is the same one I'm using. XLSX is the extension. So I have taken 2007 to 10. I said next. It is asking me what is your destination. So I would be saying SQL Server native client because my server is local. And I will not be authenticating the same through SQL Server. So I will use Windows authentication. So keep it ticked and say next. Now it is asking me, you want to write down a query to fetch the data or you want to copy the entire data. So I want to copy the entire data. So keep it ticked, say next. It is asking me what all you want to import because my Excel sheet is containing 4 sheets. So I just want master data. So I just tick this, next. And let it finish. So it says success and 10,004 rows have been transferred. I closed it. Now, if you refresh this and you open the table section, which we opened earlier, you can see the master data being imported here. And this is the table, right? And because the name of the table is very weird, it has a $sign as well. So I would be renaming this with MD, master data. And DBO is the prefix, which means database owner. It comes by default, right? So now this is the database Superstore. So I would be selecting Superstore here. First of all, let me write down the query. So I'm saying select star or asterisk from MD. And MD table is in which database? Superstore. So I will go to this drop down and I will be selecting Superstore here and I will run this query. So this is the data which has been imported from Excel in bulk. This is called bulk import, right? Now, coming to the concept of null. So we have prepared a base for this video. We have imported some data. Now we would be answering all the questions through this database only in this SQL series, right? Now, for example, I want to see how many order IDs are blank, right? So I will say select asterisk from MD where, so these are the columns I have, right? Where order ID, so you can drag the columns instead of typing, is null, right? So where is a clause which is used to give the condition in SQL. So I selected this, executed this, and now you can see there are rows, 52 rows, which are null. So what is the meaning of null? That was the question. So when we were importing the data from the main source, so whatever is blank, it is picking up. So how it will store blank? So there is no way in SQL you can keep any cell, any value blank. All the blank values are converted into null, right? So these are the blank rows basically you have, right? We have to delete this before we analyze the data, before we proceed further to look into the insight into the data, before we write down queries, we have to clean the data. So if somebody is asking you, what are the null values? So you have to say that whatever blank data we have in SQL, all those blank cells contains null. So this is the difference, right? Question number 2, what is a query? A query is a request for data or information from a database. So basically in the previous question, like we have written this, select asterisk from MD where order ID is null. So this is a query. So basically we are writing this command, this query to fetch some information from the database. So this is the answer to the second question. And this is a query. So you can, if you know this practically, I think you can frame this, right? Okay. What is question number 3? What is an alias, right? Okay, let's go to the practical section again. So basically, for example, I'm saying I have this sales column, this one, right? I want to total out these sales for each and every category. So we have 3 categories in the data: office supplies, furniture, and technology. So we want to see what was the total sales in office supplies, what was the total sales in furniture, what was the total sales in technology. So kind of, if you know Excel, we want to create a kind of pivot table here. So what we will say select category, because I want category, right? Second, what I want sum of sales. So I have used aggregate function here. Sum is a function. All the functions come in purple color, right? From MD. Now, what will happen if we execute this? It will not work. Why? It says column MD category is invalid in the select list because it is not contained in either an aggregate function or group by. So basically in this query, we have to tell that how we want to sum up our sales. So we need to group our sales on the basis of category. So what will I write? I will say, I will use group by category from sales. Now execute this. What is the problem? It says incorrect syntax near the keyword where. Now, what is the issue here? So we are saying select category and sum of sales from MD group by category. Is it fine now? Yes. So what it is doing, it is giving me the total sales for office supplies, total for furniture, total for technology. And because we have not removed those null rows, so it is taking that as a 4th category and giving me the total for that as well, which is not correct, right? So I will tell you 2 things, how to delete these null rows. Number 1. Number 2, first of all, let me finish alias. Now you can see where we have the total sales, there is no column name because this was not the original column in my data, in my table. So here after sum of sales, I will say as TS, as total sales. Now if you execute this, it has been added as a column name to my total sales. So this is the alias. Alias means the nickname we are giving to a column, the name we are giving to a column. So whenever you want to give the alias to a column, you have to use the keyword as. So this is called alias. So in one sentence, you can say alias is a nickname which we give to a column whenever we are using any function, right? It's not necessary that you would be using it whenever you are using function, because if you are saying here, select category as C and you are running this, you can rename this column as well. So you can use it anywhere. So you can use as keyword to give the nickname to any column, right? This is the definition. Now talking about this null, we have to delete these values. So we will say delete asterisk from MD where order ID is null. Will it work? Or no need to say asterisk. We can say delete from MD wherever order ID is null. I executed this. It says 52 rows deleted, right? Affected. Now, if you are running this query, see that null row is not coming, and the data has been cleaned, right? Okay. Moving to the next question, question number 4. What are the different types of SQL commands? So all the SQL commands have been divided into 5 categories, or you can say 5 subsets. So one is DDL, then DML, then DCL, TCL, DQL. And these are the full forms: data definition language, data manipulation language, data control language, transaction control language, data query language. So when we talk about data definition language, whenever we are defining our objects, so how many objects we have in SQL? We have 3 objects: database, table, and view. Whenever we are defining them, we are creating them, so that is called DDL level, right? In DML, we are manipulating the data, right? Manipulation means you are updating it, you are altering it, correct? You are deleting it. When we are talking about DCL, data control language, we are talking about the kind of security we are giving to data, right? We are talking about those commands which are helping us to generate security at data level. When we are talking about security at transaction level, we are at TCL level, right? So all those commands which we use to give security at transaction level, those come under this subset. And last, DQL. Basically, it has a single command select, which we use to run any query in SQL. Without DQL, it will not work. So if you want to learn all these commands under these subsets in detail, you have to subscribe to our course at testformula.com. In the SQL course, we have 2 varieties. One is basic, another one is intermediate to advanced level, where we have covered everything in detail. It's a very lengthy course, so you can learn these levels here. But for the interview perspective, I think this is the answer you can give, that we have the 5 subsets in SQL under which we have divided all the commands, and you can give their names. What is the difference between normalization and denormalization? So whenever we are getting data in SQL or any tool, right, we need to normalize the data. The data cannot be clean. The data cannot be in the correct format to analyze. So normalization is all about dividing data into tables to remove the redundant data. Redundance as in which is not meaningful. That is called redundant. It can be duplicate. It can be missing data, blank values, and improve the data integrity. So when we are fixing the data, we are preparing the data for data analysis. That is called normalization. And whenever we are doing the reverse process, that is called denormalization. So just read this line once. Denormalization is used to combine multiple tables in order to reduce the time required to perform queries. So we are clubbing multiple tables together. Here we are breaking the big data into small tables. We are removing the duplicates and all that. So this is all about normalization and denormalization in 2-3 lines for the interview perspective. Again, you can learn them in detail by subscribing to our course. So if you have liked this video, this series of Q&A on SQL, Please subscribe to our channel. If you think it would be helpful in your circle for anyone, then please share the video. Thank you so much.